Right, so we're now very close to the 1010music booth with Aaron, who's going to talk us through their latest device, the Bento. We've got one right here. It's very portable. What does it do?
So thanks for asking. So Bento is our sampling production lab. It can do a variety of different sample manipulation and capture techniques. Everything from granular synthesis to multi-sample instruments and drum racks and loops and even slicing. It's something we like to call like our lunchbox or our Swiss Army knife of tools that can do so many different things. It's also something that can stand alone and really be sort of a DAW-less setup, something that could drive MIDI sequencing on other devices, something that could sync up with other things, and something that can ultimately record the results when you're ready to finalize a track.
Yeah.
One of the things that we've taken into consideration is that you can now browse through instruments with different types. You can say, hey, I'd like some drums, or I'd like some guitars or keys, and find something that's going to make sense for what you want to play. So in this case, I'm going to load in a piano sample, and right away I've got a velocity scaled and fully key mapped piano to play along with whatever might like. The touchscreen is a 7-inch screen with a variety of knobs across the top that do different things, in this case controlling the volume. As you get deeper in, you've got control of things like pitch, or the envelopes, or various other parameters, but they each will adjust and take on a different meaning depending on what screen you're on and which part of the interface you're using. The touchscreen comes in really handy for a lot of different things. For example, on our granular synthesizer, you can see all the different components at once, like 2 granular oscillators, 2 filters, envelopes, a modular sequencer, and quite a bit more than would be present on our Lemon Drop. So this instrument in particular did come from the Lemon Drop. Something that would normally be on a small 1 or 2-inch touchscreen is now available here on a 7-inch touchscreen, so it's much easier to work with, much more fun to play with, and direct control of 8 different things at once as opposed to only 2. Something else worth noting is that you're seeing this operate separately. It's got its own built-in battery, so you can take it outside, you can use it on the plane. You don't need to be tethered to anything. It's way more convenient, and it's surprising, now that we've put this in place, that it's just much more fun to use because you don't have to worry about how you're going to power it. Another thing that we're really quite proud of is the fact that there's so much I/O. Like, to be part of an external setup to interconnect with a bunch of gear needs lots of different ins and outs. So you've got 4 stereo outputs here, including a headphone, 3 stereo ins, and a pair of MIDI ins and a pair of MIDI outs.
Oh, wow.
Combine that with power via the USB-C port and the ability to host a controller via another USB-C port. So I mentioned the 5 different ways to produce sound. We've now seen granular. This is an example of what the drum rack would look like. You've got 16 different pads that can be triggered directly from inside the box. You've got slicing, which is really quite a lot of fun on a big touchscreen such as this. You can now see that all those things are much more approachable and directly controllable. A lot of people have asked us for the ability to change the slice position with a knob. That's now something you can do and see it happen.
I see.
You even really zoom in closely and get a better view on all that. So I'm missing looping. As with many things that we've done in the past, like looping is one of the most popular aspects of it. You can record loops, you can play back time synchronized loops, and what makes it a lot more fun is now with the pads is that you can do multiple things at once. You don't need to jump back and forth between pages because you've got very few ways to view your information. Having dedicated pads really, really helps. In case you're not familiar with our products, it's really all based on a micro SD card.
Okay.
So this is something where like all the content lives on this one card, so it's easy to pop in and out. It's easy to take your computer, load up with gigabytes of material. These cards are now available in sizes approaching 2 terabytes, so it's like the storage is practically free. There's just so much room to work that you don't need to concern yourself with which files you're going to use. Just stick them all on there. I should point out that we've licensed nearly 6 gigabytes of sound from people like Samples from Mars, Soundtrack Loops, and we've done some sound development with Drew Newman. So you've got things like the grand piano, you've got a variety of keyboard instruments, nearly 6,000 samples, 165 pre-built instruments, so you can really get started quickly and go where inspiration takes you. Of course, you can load your own stuff. You don't need to constrain yourself to what we've built.
Yeah.
So you can load a single sample, a bank of samples, and you'll soon be able to impart entire patches from Lemon Drop to be able to do whatever you like.
Oh, amazing.
Lastly, pricing and availability. In the United States, it's $8.99 US dollars.
Yep.
Here in Europe, it's looking to be about €1,000. Depends on where you are. Contact your local retailer.
Sure.
We've finished the manufacturing of them. They're now in the process of being shipped to retailers, so you should have one in your hands in around 2 weeks if you've placed a pre-order.
Amazing. Aaron, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.